The Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast is proudly sponsored by New Vision.
My team, kinda power. I love the power. I love the power.
Hi and welcome to the Big Footy Port Adelaide podcast. This is a weekly show dedicated to all things Port Adelaide Footy Club. I'm your host, Macca 19, and joining me as co-host is Fishing Rico 4. How are you, mate?
Yeah, very good, buddy. What about you?
Always good, buddy.
No letdown from the showdown? You're still on an emotional high?
Still on a high, mate. Still on a high.
Good work.
And for his return to the podcast is the Preview King. We're talking with Noobzor.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back again.
Pleasure, mate. How you been?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, just the usual.
That's the way. Now, before we get into the preview proper, I might find out just a little bit of your thoughts on the season to date, mate. How have you found the first two rounds?
To be honest, it's hard to explain. I just love the feeling around the footy club. And I'm just getting so nervous before games now, and it's just a weight of expectation. It's strange coming into games and thinking, we're such a good chance of winning this, and you're expecting to win by a large amount, and just the way we're playing footy, it's just exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's good having the problem of having young Moore sitting on the sidelines, and just the depth we've got is just outstanding.
There's a lot of guys that could be playing but just aren't at the moment, which is definitely a good sign.
So do you feel, as a supporter base, we're getting a bit too far ahead of ourselves, or what about David Pender P and his accusations that we're getting arrogant as a club, releasing all that audio too early? Do you agree with those sort of sentiments, or you think we're still pretty grounded?
I definitely think we're still grounded. I don't see a problem with that audio being released at all. I don't know how that's a sign that we're getting ahead of ourselves. It's just a pre-game speech, and
absolutely.
The speech itself from Kern was grounded in itself. He was keeping them, their heads in the game. He was telling them exactly how it was. It wasn't like he was telling them they were going to definitely get the 4 points and not to worry about it.
Yeah,
I thought it was a bit of an odd call too myself, but I guess it's been topical during the week.
I mean, we had the telecasters in the box for round one last year. So if this is arrogant releasing a 90-second bit of audio, then what the hell is having bloody Fox Footy in the box for the Melbourne game last year?
Yeah, I think
ridiculous comment.
Yeah, and even just the way we've gone around our footy. I mean, we came out in the first quarter and just absolutely wiped Adelaide off the park, and you'd think if it was a sign of we're getting ahead of ourselves in complacency, we would have had our usual sort of first quarter.
Yeah, that's it. I think it's just a sign that some people in the media are getting a bit scared of what's going to happen, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I think there's a bit of desperation there with the claims, but I think I said it on the forum today, I just think it's very smart marketing on our part, to try and make ourselves a little bit relevant in the competition again, and with such a competitive environment now, giving access to the media, which then in turn gives us exposure on a national stage, it's a very smart strategy.
Yep.
Yeah, particularly with the nature of the pre-game speech from Hinkley. I mean, that was just so relatable to anyone that's ever had a footy coach. I mean, he didn't talk about anything too technical. It was just basic footy and the basic sort of rev-up speech, and I think everyone could probably relate to that.
Yeah.
What I liked about it was that it was calm. Yeah, he could have really gone the opposite, gone the yelling and really motivating and trying to yell and trying to grab the attention, but for the game that it was and the pressure that was on there, I think his approach, which obviously paid off in the end, of having the boys calm at the beginning of the game, and he was calm, and so everyone was relaxed, I think was a very smart implementation of psychology on his part.
Yeah, I think the thing I liked about it most definitely was he gave a little nod to Tommy Jonas right at the end, which I think was probably a good thing to do, considering he's the youngest and newest member of the leadership group. He probably would have been a bit nervous, I'd suggest.
We got the power to win, power to roll, come on, Port Adelaide.
So, of course, the reason we're doing this podcast tonight is to preview the Port Adelaide versus North Melbourne clash, which is, of course, round 3. It's going to be played at Etihad Stadium on Sunday afternoon. Win-loss record, it's not pretty for Port Adelaide, this one. It's 8-20 in North Melbourne's favour. The last time we met was a bit of a joke. We lost by 10 points with a 15-38 free kick differential, which is just about the biggest difference in history, I would think. And of course, the last time we won was round 8 2012 at Footy Park, where we had one of the all-time great last quarter comebacks.
Gathered though by Broadbent through the middle of the ground. Now a long kick down in the Paul Stewart direction. He marks and plays on. He keeps his footing. Got away from Ferrito to put Port Adelaide in front. The power lead at Amy.
That was a game to remember.
Yeah, I think that someone posted today, and I thought it was a very good point, that the win-loss is a little bit misleading because we had the 9 straight losses to them since our inception.
Yep. And
since then it's been just about 50-50. So I'm not too concerned in that regard.
No, that's fair enough as well. So what can we expect from North Melbourne this week? Noobs, I might throw to you for that one, mate.
I've just watching their first 2 games. They've just really struggled in terms of their structure and definitely through the midfield. And I don't know. They have the cattle, but they just don't seem to be playing to any sort of specific game plan. I mean, Brad Scott has always been someone who has been an all-out attack in terms of his coaching, and now with the changes in the coach's box, and it seems a change with his mentality, he's trying to teach them defensive footy, and they're sort of stuck at the moment. There's no fluidity to their ball movement, and they're very slow, and it's almost like they're all caught in 2 minds, which I think could definitely play into our hands come game day on Sunday.
I think you're right about their defensive aspect, and I wonder if that's the Lee Tudor influence coming over from Sydney, and that's causing a bit of a timing differential for North Melbourne with transitioning in their game plan.
Yeah, they just they remind me sort of the Crows going back to sort of like 2005, 2006. They seem to be playing a really old style of footy that was sort of in about 6 or 7 years ago. And I just find them boring. They're just a boring club to watch at the moment. They've got plenty of good players, plenty of good sort of grunty midfielders, a fair bit of pace, a good young sort of forward line. But they're just bloody vanilla. They're so vanilla and so boring at the moment.
Yeah, no, the first 2 weeks, the midfielders just spent so much time chasing, and they're missing targets, and they're not running defensively, and they're not filling defensive space. And then when they do get the footy, it's, as you said, it's just boring, and they're really struggling.
Are they trying to cluster around the ball and just have excessive numbers around the ball to slow the game down?
I don't think so. No, not that I've noticed. It's just that they're very, very slow in moving the ball.
Well, that would be... Oh, sorry, mate. I was going to say that would be to their detriment against Port, which is now a very fluid team and a very fast ball-moving team. If they're a bit slow moving the ball with our attacking pressure at the contest and really ferocious in that aspect of the game, that's going to be quite to their undoing, really, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, especially because they are really struggling to hit targets, and even just handballs, they're missing targets. And you know what we're like on the fast break, and I really am expecting us to just kill them in the midfield and lots of rebound footy and move it quick. And yeah, I guess that's why I'm so confident, really.
Well, let's talk about the teams. It doesn't look like on face value at the moment there's going to be any change to either side. Both have obviously added the 3 emergencies. For us, it's Cam O'Shea and Aaron Young and Cameron Hitchcock. And for North Melbourne, it's Joel Tippett, Liam Anthony and Ben Jacobs.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumour going around that Zeebel's going to miss, though. He's going to be laid out.
I wonder if Jacobs will come in. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, the North board, from what I've read, seem to think that if Zeebel comes out, Jacobs slots straight in, which would be interesting, as you say.
Yeah, they're probably more of a like-for-like sort of replacement than Liam Anthony, I guess.
Well, who are the players then that we have to watch out for? I've got a vague recollection that Daniel Wells did well against us last game, and And I think Andrew Swallow did well for them as well, but obviously he's not going to be playing, so that will be to our advantage.
Yeah, Wells has had a very slow start to the season. I think the big one is Del Santo. He's added just so much to their team, and in a team that's really struggling with fluidity of ball movement and hitting targets, he's just setting them up beautifully and bringing players into the game. So I think he's the one we really got to watch.
Yep. Yeah, he's certainly their prime mover at the moment. He's getting high numbers of the ball, lots of clearances, lots of contested footy. Obviously we know he's a fantastic player, and as you say, he's added a lot to their midfield. I think Drew Petrie's probably another one that would count as a key player. He's kicked 12 goals in the last 3 matches against Port. We seem to sort of struggle against his height and strength a bit. He hasn't had a really good start to the season, but he's someone that seems to always lift against Port Adelaide.
And Todd Goldstein had an epic game against us last week, and I was really happy last year, and I was really happy with Loeb's performance last week. We all cried for him to stand up, and he did stand up, and again, we're going to need him to stand up again, especially seeing we don't really have any coverage for him. So, and obviously Drew Petrie will switch into the ruck a little bit as well, I would imagine. So they're probably 2 big men that we're going to have to focus a lot of energy on.
I think Curry, he got a game last week and he's still named, so I think Curry would probably be playing second fiddle to Goldie this week, and Petrie just be playing as a pure deep forward.
Oh, okay, I thought I read that Curry might be missing out.
No, according to the ins and outs, he's still in.
Yeah.
Okay. That rumour's not true then. Bloody big footy. North Melbourne supporters let me down once again.
It is a very tall forward line, though. I mean, Curry's 201 centimetres, Petrie's 197, and Aaron Black's 192. So it is quite a bit more height difference than what we would see with our defenders that would be matching on them, I would think.
Yeah, especially if you got Trengo, who was our tallest defender, switching out with Lobie for every now and again in Rocket. I mean, that's our tallest defender gone. Yeah. So they're going to be giving up a bit of height.
Yeah, but if we can bring the ball to ground, you'd have to think that's going to be a massive advantage with our midfielders dropping back and linking up with the defenders. We'll have massive running advantage coming out of defence over their forwards, and therefore transition play should greatly be in our favour, I would imagine.
Yeah, the most dangerous forward, in my opinion, is definitely Lindsay Thomas, with the way they've been playing this season, and he's excellent below his knees as well as being a lead-up, shorter sort of forward. So when we do get it to ground, I think we've got an advantage, but whoever's playing on Thomas, which I think would be Impey, gets first crack, and then Jonas, if that doesn't go too well, would definitely have to step up in that case.
I think Impey would go to him again, I would think. He had a pretty good game on Betts. He had a great game on Garlett. Let's keep throwing him on these good small forwards and see what he can do, I reckon.
Yeah, which I love, because in that case you free Jonas right up, who's so versatile in terms of being able to run through the midfield with someone or, back up into defence. Absolutely, and,
I think a few people just looked at the rap sheet last week for Eddie Betts with 4 goals, but I thought Jarman Impey did a pretty good job. I think Eddie only kicked 3 on Jarman, and then another one was pretty much undefendable from a poor turnover on our part. So, if you look at it that way, really, Eddie only kicked 2 pure goals on Jarman Impey, and I thought his run and his input throughout the whole game was fantastic. And like you said, he did a great job on Garlett as well the week before. So why shouldn't he have first crack at Lindsay Thomas to see what he can do?
That's it. Get around him, back him in.
Absolutely. What's the point in sheltering them? Fair enough if they're completely out of their depth. Yeah, you need to find another matchup or give them a rest in the seconds. But I haven't had that sense from him yet. So let's keep him going.
Yeah, how much experience would he be getting? Even just those. Garlett and Betts are 2 very smart small forwards, and the sort of exposure that he's getting to him is going to put him in such good standing for the rest of his career.
I'm a big fan of Jarman. It was amazing from when he got drafted, and it was like, oh, who is he? I don't even haven't even heard of that name. No one even paid attention to him. And then the more and more I just watch him run, he's just such a smooth runner. His running style just reminds me so much of Andrew McLeod, and obviously we know how much of a champion he was. If he can be half the player of Andrew, would be going very well.
Yeah, I think one more that we've really got to look out for, and someone who, in a season where North have really struggled getting forward, I think their most dangerous midfielder, even at his age, is definitely Brent Harvey. He's the only one I can think of that is able to break lines and move the ball quickly forward. So whoever's on him is going to have their hands full, whether that's Corns or White or even Jonas.
Got to say, I'm really looking forward to the day that Brent Harvey retires, just so he can't kill us anymore. The guy's broken my heart so many times. He's probably the number one player that's we've never really been able to handle throughout our history, really. He's kicked more goals than any other club, third most disposals and third in Brownlow votes against Port Adelaide.
Which is why it's interesting to see who's going to match up with him. I mean, he's the prototype of the player that we allegedly recruited White for, but White was sub last week, and when he came on was predominantly heading into attack, so it'll be interesting to see who matches up with him all day.
Well, do we see White starting this week? I think he'd be the perfect matchup for Harvey.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a Pittard drop back to sub and then White start in the game and on Harvey.
Yep.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to see him probably having stringing too many games in a row on the bench. And look, we've got enough depth to really cycle through it. But we were talking earlier in the week on the boards about Dom Cassisi and his calf, the old man injury, or prone to injury. And I thought maybe this was a perfect opportunity to take a bit of the workload off of Dom this game, and on the faster track and the harder track, and potentially give maybe someone like Aaron Young an opportunity to come in for him and freshen Dom up for round 4.
I thought you were going to say Cassisi to sub for a second there, but yeah, I agree completely. I mean, even you got all that options on the extended bench in terms of O'Shea and Hitchcock and Aaron Young who can all run, so I don't see harm in that.
Let's face the facts. Cam Hitchcock ain't playing, is he?
No.
So if they're going to swap, it's only going to be O'Shea or Aaron Young, I would imagine.
Well, both of them are playing tonight as well, so I don't know if we'll risk it.
Well, maybe even, I mean, someone like O'Shea, who's, his endurance is just out of this world. I mean, I can imagine he being able to double up even if he's got the vest on the weekend if it comes to it.
Yeah. I guess the other thing to talk about is the battle of the inside midfielders. That's probably where this is going to be won and lost. Obviously, we've got plenty of our own in guys like Boak, Wines, Ebert, and Hartlett, and they've got plenty of these sort of stocky, short, sluggish inside mids as well. Guys like Dow Santo, Zeeble, Cunnington. It's almost like battle of the clones, really.
Yeah, I think where we definitely have the advantage is that a lot of North midfielders are definitely one-trick ponies. I mean, you look at guys like Cunnington, and they're great at winning the ball, but if they're pitted head-to-head against someone like Boak or Ebert, Boak and Ebert are so clever with their running and their spread so well that even if they're not winning the inside ball against them, I think we're definitely going to win the battle overall because of the ability to spread and hurt them the other way.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think our midfield's just stepped it up a notch now, and we've got the two-way running is really our advantage, and from what you guys were saying and from what I've seen this year, from the limited aspect of North Melbourne, it's that's really our massive advantage, isn't it?
Mm.
I mean, I'm just looking at the statistics for the two teams. We've been averaging 366 disposals to North Melbourne, 328, clearances 37 to 34, inside 50s 50 to 42, and contested possessions 148 to 118. You'd have to think that if that trend was to continue in this game, those figures would be illustrating maybe a 5-6 goal win, looking at those stats.
Yep.
Yeah, I think even if we were to lose the contested ball, I think North as a whole have really struggled once they've got the footy out. So, I mean, if they're getting their hands on the footy first, I mean, obviously you take it 1 week at a time and things might change, but basing it upon how they've been going so far this season, first hands on the footy doesn't necessarily mean they're at an advantage.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by their contested possession numbers, really. I mean, what's that? That's 59 contested possessions a game. I thought they were really a contested possession football team. So it's a bit surprising that we've got such a dominant statistics there.
Yeah, I think part of that is what I sort of hinted at earlier was Brad Scott's change in mentality in terms of the way he's coaching, and the defensive mind to it might actually have caused him to take away that contested ball.
It's also interesting one for the fans here that we're averaging 16 free kicks to North Melbourne's 10. I wonder if their free kick average is going to go up after this weekend.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
No. Straight through to the keeper.
Yeah.
Now, who goes to Westhoff? Do we think Lockie Hansen or Scott Thompson?
The North Board seems to think Hansen just because he's a bit more of an endurance runner. Either way, I don't know. Westhoff is so hard to predict the matchup you're going to get with Westhoff just because of how versatile he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the North Board's saying Hansen though, I guess.
I couldn't thought more Thompson.
Do you reckon he could run with him around the whole ground?
I guess it depends what sort of role he plays. I mean, if he goes further up the field, I'm not sure I really see Hansen going with him either, to be honest, in that sort of role. But I don't know. I reckon they might try and get Thompson on him and try and get him to run off him a little bit, because he's got probably better pace than what Westhoff has.
So could that be to Butcher's advantage? Because then who goes to Butcher?
Grimer, who's under a bit of an injury cloud, or Joel Tippett.
Joel Tippett, yeah.
Good old Tippo.
Yeah, I think even the fact that they're playing Hansen in defence is a win because he was always been a forward. I don't know what his numbers are, so I don't really have anything to back up, but I think our three talls match up very well against their three talls.
He's been playing that sort of loose. Imagine when Westhoff plays down back, that's sort of the role that Hansen plays on a weekly basis, sort of dropping back, sort of half covers an opponent, half looks to sort of drop back and kill the contest and takes grabs and runs loose to create. You know, he gets a lot of the ball and takes a lot of marks. You know, he sort of, I think through the second half of last year, he was getting around about that sort of 18 to 20 touches, 10 marks a game, playing, you know, as that sort of third toll in defence, which is pretty good numbers.
Mm. But at the same time, you do that against someone like Westhoff, that could hurt you the other way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The other one that we haven't really spoken about, which can do a bit of damage to us as well, is Daniel Wells. Who would we run with him? Would that be a Kane Corns type?
I would probably look at playing Polek off him, to be honest, and seeing if he can hurt Wells the other way. Wells hasn't had a big start to the year either. Actually, a lot of their sort of gun midfielders have been down, except for Del Santo, really. So it'll be interesting to see how they play this week.
Yeah, I think we'd start with Del Santo and maybe Harvey looking at, and then if Wells starts getting off the leash a little bit, that's something you look at. But I can imagine we're pitting someone head to head with him to start with.
He always worries me, Daniel, because he seems to be quiet, and then we seem to come up against him, and he always seems to do good things.
Yeah.
Bit like Boomer Harvey.
Yes.
I get the feeling there's a bit of nervousness about North Melbourne for some reason.
I guess it's because on paper I think we should win, and win quite comfortably, especially with how the form has looked so far this year. But you just never know with North. You just never know when they're going to pull out a really, really good performance.
Yeah. And our history at Etihad hasn't been fantastic either. We have to face the facts there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think this will go a long way. I mean, we beat Carlton round one at Etihad, but I think we win this weekend and we're going a long way to getting rid of that particular worry.
Yep.
And I mean, the odds
North are a team. I mean, North are a team that play Etihad so well just because of typically how well they are attacking going forward and whatnot.
All right, so time for the Big Four, which is the Big Four questions that will determine the result of the game. The first question is time to stand up. Noobzor, I might start with you, mate. Whose time is it to stand up?
Rick's not going to like me this week, but I think it is definitely Jasper Pittard. I mean, he's someone that, I don't know.
Squeaking the chair in disgust again.
He's furious.
I love it.
I mean, I don't know. He's someone that every now and again he makes me eat my words, and he did have a big couple of preseason games, but he's had a flat couple of games to start the season. And Stevenson and Heath are admittedly injured, who would probably come straight in for him. But you got someone like Cam O'Shea waiting in the wings, and I think another quiet week for Jasper, and he might put his spot in the side in a bit of jeopardy. So I think it's time for him to stand up and have a big game.
Oh, mate,
Great call.
You're trying to fire me up. I think you guys have been, and a lot of the board have been very, very harsh on Jasper. And I thought his first game he was okay, didn't set the world on fire. But last week I thought he played a very, very good, solid game for a halfback flanker. It was only 4 possessions less than Pollock, but he was a bit more defensive than what Pollock was. He had 4 tackles, 16 possessions, 4 marks, 6 rebound 50s. Disposal efficiency was nearly 70%. He did a lot
I feel
of
like you've prepared this, Rick.
Yeah, it seems like you're
I'm
sort
actually
of
going
expecting someone to say
I'm actually
fitter.
going off the top of my head here. He had a lot of blocks, a lot of shepherds, a lot of little gives that generated run, and I think it's a lot of that stuff's been overlooked by the Port faithful, and they need to remove the preconceived negativity around Jasper, and he's the O'Shea equivalent of 2012, and
I think you've just described the other JP in Jared Pollock. I think you've read the wrong stats.
No, I haven't, mate. But I just think everyone needs to be open-minded. But saying that, I respect everyone's opinions, and let him stand up and prove everybody wrong on that fast Etihad surface on Sunday.
Oh, well, I hope he does. I'd be more than happy for Jasper Pittard to prove me wrong.
He will. He will.
So on that note, Rick, who's your time to stand up?
I'm going for our captain. I think Travis is always leading from the front. I would never dispute that, and I'm not disputing that he's not putting in 100%. But I think his possession count the last couple of games has been down and lacking a little bit of influence, and he's been getting a pretty hard tag. But I think for us to go a long way, we need to see a two-way running, gut running, inside-outside play of Travis Boak this week to really stand up and drive us forward.
Yep, good call. I like that one as well.
Yeah, he's been tagged the first 2 weeks, and I was thinking earlier this week about, do North have a dedicated tagger? I don't think they do at the moment.
No, probably not. I think Adams might sort of play a bit of a defensive role, and that's probably about it, I would think.
Because I think this might be
in the side, but he was sub last week.
Yeah, I think this might be a big week for Trev. I think they're not going to pay as much attention to him as he got in the first 2 weeks, and I think he might be having a breakout game for the year.
Yep.
Hey, now you're stealing my call, man. What's going on there?
All right, my time to stand up is Matthew White, which it's not meant to sound harsh because he's had a really good first game. He was fantastic as a sub last week. But I think it's now time for him to play a full game this week and really make it known why we targeted him. North have a lot of pretty quick guys in sort of Daniel Wells, Lee Adams, Atley and Harvey. And they're 4 guys that have sort of done some damage to us in the past. I'd really liked him probably play on Harvey and really look to shut him down and kick a couple of goals the other way as well.
Good work.
Yep, can't fault that.
Now, the danger man. Rick, who's your danger man this week?
Who is my danger man? Well, TK just posted now why draft Nahas if you're not going to play him against Port, and he would have been my danger man.
It's a great call.
It is a great call, T. Cray. Yes, and I would have put him in instantly just for us. But I'm going to go with Goldstein. We really don't want him dominating the ruck and creating massive amount of clearances in their favour because that will generate their run. And so I'm really looking forward to Lobie and our second ruckman nullifying his influence in the play and also up forward.
Beautiful.
Mine is Lindsay Thomas. I think that he had a very bad week last week, but based upon their season so far, he is the forward that will do the most damage. I think our back three talls match up pretty well, and Thomas is someone that could get away from us, especially with with a young player who's still learning the game in Impey. He's so strong below the knees and so strong on the lead that he is someone that could cause a lot of problems for us. And I think the key to Lindsay Thomas is definitely all in the head. He struggled last week because he did find himself in the wrong mindset mentally, and I think that's a big key to getting on top of him.
Yep, that's a good call. My danger man is Scott Thompson. I think he's probably the best defensive reader of the play in the whole league. He's a fantastic defender. He can shut down one-on-one, and as we know, he can sort of read the play and drop off and kill contests as the third man up as well. He's someone that we really got to look out for and try and make accountable, not let him sort of get off his player and kill those contests in front of Schultz. That's what I'm worried about most of all, I think. So he's probably my danger man this week.
Yep, that's a good call.
And the key to winning is, Noobsor?
Key to winning for us is spreading from the contest. I mean, you can win the inside. They're strong inside North Melbourne, but where you really hurt them is on the outside, and having you set outside players like Corns and Polak hurting them, but also players like Boak and Ebert and Wines pushing from the contest and getting their hands on the footy and hurting them the other way.
Defensive structure for me, mate. Want to make sure, and we've done it fantastically well the first two games, but I'm really looking forward to us having the right defensive structures again, which will deny North Melbourne that transition run, because when I think of us getting burnt by North Melbourne, I'm always thinking of their transition counter-attacking run against us into an open forward line, which then burns us badly. So if we can keep our defensive structure, nullify that outside run and that transitional run, that's going to be our key to winning the game.
Beautiful. My key to winning is Port winning the contested possessions. I think if we get first hands on the ball, if we stop their clearance winning mids from getting it first, I think we win the game. I think it comes down to if we win the contested possession count, we win this game. Simple as that.
Yep.
And last of all is the prediction. Rick, who are you predicting to win this one?
I'm predicting Port Adelaide Macca, and I think we're going to win by 2 goals.
Nice. Noobsor?
Port by 2-1.
Mate, that's almost as cowardly as Macca's Adelaide tip last week. But not chair-worthy.
Well, look, I'm going to pick North Melbourne for this one.
Whoa.
No, I'm not really.
Again?
No. I think we'll be too strong in the midfield. I think we've got too many options up forward, and I think we're going to be too strong down back, and I think we'll win by 37 points.
Oh, confidence.
Very confident for this one. I'm very, very confident we'll win this.
This isn't the kiss of death, though, is it, Macca?
It could well be. Why do you think I keep picking the Crows every time we play?
I can imagine.
Because it works.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I'm still beating you, Macca, in the tips by 2 points. So I think it's seeing I'm still winning. It's worth persisting with doing this. So once you start winning, we can stop if you want to. So maybe we should just quickly rattle off our tips for the other games.
All right. Hawthorn Freo. I will tip Hawthorn.
Yeah, I'm going Hawthorn.
Noobs?
Yeah, Hawthorn easily. Freo just have too many outs.
That's it. The Cows versus the Swans. I'm going to pick Sydney just for this one.
Yeah, I went Sydney.
Yeah, Sydney.
Could be another one of those North Melbourne Bulldog first quarter games from last week, I reckon.
Could be ugly.
Yeah.
I see they've dropped a lot of players, the Crows, so
yeah.
It's good we did a bit of damage.
Absolutely.
Western Bulldogs versus Richmond. I think Richmond will win that one quite comfortably.
Ditto.
Yep.
Gold Coast versus Brisbane. I'm going to tip Gold Coast.
Yep, Gold Coast for me.
Gold Coast pretty boring so far.
Yeah.
West Coast versus St Kilda. I'm going to pick West Coast.
Damn it. I went West Coast.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be seeing any big celebrations from St Nick as he pumps a bottom 4 team, so West Coast for me.
No.
That's it. Collingwood versus Geelong. That's going to be a good one. I think Geelong will be too strong for them. this week.
Yeah, I've gone Geelong too. I think Collingwood's still a bit shaky.
They're actually my roughie for the week, Collingwood. So yeah.
I like that call. I do.
Yeah.
I want to pick Collingwood, but I just can't with Rick in front, I think.
Yeah, I'm a brave man, which is why I lose tipping every year.
GWS versus Melbourne. I'm going to pick the Giants.
Yeah, I've gone Giants, but this is one where it wouldn't surprise me if Melbourne just comes out with a bit of an upset.
Yeah, I'm going GWS, and I can't help but notice while we're on the topic that young Jimmy Toumpas has been dropped from the Melbourne lineup.
Yes.
Yeah. Come back.
Yeah. Yep.
And Viv Mitchie as well. There goes my dream team.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
And Essendon and Carlton. I'm going to pick Essendon.
Oh, and Essendon as well.
I'm going Carlton just because
Oh.
Ryder's out.
No, I don't think that's going to help him. Cruz is out too, remember?
Oh, true. Yeah, but to Essendon, I mean, Bell Chambers is out. Who's their ruckman?
I don't think it matters against Carlton.
Probably Danaher.
Yeah. You know what? He actually looked really good in the ruck. They were very lucky that they got him as a father-son. How much of a gun is Danaher going to be?
Oh, he would have gone
Very,
pick
very
one
good
last
player.
year. Year before, rather.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But anyway, good luck to him, I guess. No, well, you won't make any ground on me, Macca, so looks like we'll be doing the tips again next week.
That's it.
Yeah, you
work.
both getting 7.
Actually, you know, just very quickly, I don't want to stretch it out too long, but I went in a sports bet and I did Hawthorn, Richmond, and I did Sydney by 1 to 40, Gold Coast and West Coast, and that gave me odds of 20 to 1, which I thought was pretty strong.
Jeez, that's not bad.
Yeah, so I left out Geelong, Collingwood, because I reckon that could. I think you're on the money with Collingwood, but you know, I'm not going to risk that pick. But yeah, just those fives, I think are pretty good, reasonable bets, and you know, at 20 to 1, I think that's quite reasonable.
Jeez, mate,
Actually, I
that
think
comes
I
through
might
and I might stop paying you.
Really? It's that bag of potato chips I get every week. I'm not going to get them anymore.
That's it.
Damn it.
Cheer the black and the white. Honor the magpies day and by night. Live that loyal man.
So, of course, it's round 1 for the SANFL this week as well, with Port Magpies going to Norwood Oval tonight to play Norwood. We've played 291 times. Port's still leading by a very small margin these days, by 194 to 188 wins. Norwood have actually won the last 8 against Port at Cooper Stadium. Got to go back to the first round of 2007 for the last Port victory at the ground. And Port's last win against Norwood was round 11 2013. Now, as this game is being played tonight, we're actually halfway through the third quarter as we speak, with Norwood winning by 31 points, which is a bit of a disaster, I would think.
Absolutely, I would agree with that one. Yeah, but I guess it shows all these SANFL supporters freaking out that the power team, reserves, and the Crows are going to dominate. Makes a bit of a mockery of that.
Well, now they're going to say we don't care about winning. So
You can't win either way, can you?
no, that's it.
How are the AFL players going so far, Macca?
Well, we've got 15 AFL listed players out there this evening. Aaron Young's probably, looking at the stats, he's been best on ground. He's currently got 21 touches and 9 clearances, so that's a very, very good game by Youngie so far.
Absolutely.
Mitch Harvey's looked not too bad up forward. He's kicked a goal.
Mm-hmm.
Benny Harron has been okay. Cam O'Shea, he's had plenty of it. Sammy Colquhoun, so has he. A bit disappointing, Needy, Carl Amon and Brendan Archie haven't really done much at the moment.
They'd be more the more flanker type players though, and I guess if we're getting dominated around the contest, it's probably going to be a little bit harder for them to get ball too, isn't it?
That's it. I say Needy's struggled a bit, but he's just kicked a ripper goal just then, so good on him.
Which is what he's paid the big bucks to do.
Absolutely.
So are you a bit disappointed with that scoreline?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we've got 15 AFL players out there. Norwood's only got 8 of their premiership side from last year out there. This is not a good scoreline. This is not what I would have expected.
It seems like we haven't really held back with Young, but have we held any of the subs back somewhat?
No, Youngies had 21 touches, O'Shea's had 13, and Hitchcock's had 9 so far. So.
Yeah, mate, there you go. They're holding back Hitchcock to play on Sunday.
Hamstring.
Porsche will be loving that one.
Mm.
And
Well, let's hope there's a bit of a comeback in the last quarter.
Well, 5 goals in modern football is still possible, isn't it?
Definitely.
We sound overly pumped for the game ourselves. It's inspired me. I don't know what's going on.
I'd be a lot more pumped if we were leading at the moment, but it's just ticked over 3/4 time, and it's 5 goals 7 to 10 goals 8. So it's not too pretty.
And it's funny. Red One just posted on Big Footy on a positive note. After watching the Magpies game, all the power players looked to have no problems keeping their spots.
Very true.
Yes. Oh, well, like you said, hopefully we can come back.
All right, well, we might leave it there for this evening. Noobzor, absolute pleasure to have you back on, mate.
Yeah, thanks for having us again, guys. Look forward to the next time we meet.
Absolutely, it's been great.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
And Rick, as always, buddy.
Pleasure, mate. Pleasure. Get that bet on. I reckon it'll be good value.
Let's hope for a big win this weekend. Come on, power.
Go on the power.
Oh, that's limp again, Rick. You got to do harder.
No, I don't. That's as far as I go, man.
Oh.
Hey, I did better than Noobzor. He didn't even do anything.
Well, I didn't know that was a thing.
Okay, you got to cheer. You got to cheer.
Noobs.
Oop.
Did someone yell it out from the background?
Hello, someone in the background.
Yes, that would be Mrs. Noobzor. Carnaby!
There we go. There it is.
Good man. That's it.
Oh, what a handball from...
Could be a catastrophic error. And Wingard can make it really, really sting. It's there.